Well, good day, and welcome to an on-demand version of our California Relief Grant webinar. This is being provided by the Central California SBDC region. Good day, whether it be morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you're watching this. I'm Kelly Bearden, the director of the CSU Bakersfield SBDC, and I'll be taking you through this program today. The Bakersfield CSUB SBDC is part of the Central California region, which is about 14 counties throughout Central California, from the Pacific Ocean to the state of Nevada, up to the top of Mono County, all the way down to the bottom of Kern County. 14 of the best counties you'll ever find. So, encompassing the Central Coast, the San Joaquin Valley, and the Eastern Sierra, we are there with 5 centers in the region. And those centers include our center in downtown Bakersfield, also a center in Clovis, Merced, Modesto, Salinas, and in San Luis Obispo. Reach out. I see I have an incomplete phone number there. I will provide that to you in another source, but there is a nonprofit number that you can go to, a non-toll number, and we'll get that for you by the end of the webinar. So a lot of resources are out there on this particular program. This is for the first filing that is opening on December 30th. So the portal is actually live as this is being recorded on December 30th and will be good for 9 days until January 8th at 11:59 p.m. when the last filing is to be made. So in California, the SBDC program does have 5 centers, 5 regional centers. I mentioned the Central California region. Also, there's regional centers in Northern California, in Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego. So a little bit about today's program. Today is the California Relief Grant Program, which is being run out of the California Office of the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development under the Small Business Advocates Office. And it is being administered by a program, a CDFI, a community development lender, that's really good in fintech. So that's really good because we have an online platform to go over and called Lendistry. And Lendistry is about a 5-year-old company that has done amazing work in 5 years. And they will actually be the one that you actually submit to. So the state of California is contracted with Lendistry to do the analysis of the applications based on the criteria that we're about ready to go over. So there you go, right there. There's where you need to be for this range of dates from December 30th, 2020 through Friday, January 8th. The portal does close at 11:59 on Friday night, and this will be the first round of funding, and we'll get into that. But there's your website, careliefgrant.com. So a little bit about the grant program. There's going to be about $475 million of funding that comes out of the Office of the Small Business, and that will be distributed by Lendistry. And also, there's a number of third-party partners out there, of which the SBDC program, as you see, will be one of those partners. But you are applying through a direct portal to Lendistry, and it's a direct portal, and you'll be providing a lot of information. So we're going to go through a lot of this information that you are going to need to come up with in order to have a successful filing. Now, a little bit about the program. Being $475 million is a lot of money. It is probably not going to be enough. It is expected to be oversubscribed, whereas you have more requests than the $475 million of funding. So it is going to be competitive. Some of my associates and myself think it's going to be about a 3-to-1 shot, as far as for every 3 businesses apply, 1 will likely get funded. But that's just pure speculation at this point. And if you're not in, you can't win. So hopefully you can try to win one of these grants. We have 2 rounds of funding of about $237,500 million. And so as you see, the eligibility, we'll get through the eligibility, but it's for businesses that have an annual revenue of 2.5 million or less. Can go anywhere from $1,000 to 2.5 annual revenues. And as you can see, the grant awards fluctuate based on those business gross revenues between $5,000 and $25,000. So it's for both small businesses and small nonprofits. Small businesses mean sole proprietors, independent contractors, 1099 workers, and then your regular for-profit entities, be it a sole proprietor, Schedule C, C corporation, S corporation, limited liabilities, partnerships, etc. You're going to need a tax return, your most recent one, be it 2018 or 19, and again, you must have the $1,000 of revenue. Now, small nonprofits mean that they are generally registered as either a 501c3 or 501c6 under the IRS code for nonprofit entities. They must have annual gross revenues of $2.5 million or less based on their most recent Form 990. And generally must have a minimum gross revenue of $1,000. So you can't be a business that has been on the sideline for a while. You can't be a nonprofit that hasn't been generating any revenue at all, as there is the minimum $1,000 in each of these two legal entities. So eligibility requirements. Some of the eligibility requirements are going to be, you must be in business since June 1st, 2019. Business must have been impacted by COVID-19. Applicants will be required to certify eligibility that the grant will be used for specific applicant and such revenues will be based on the highest revenue. Businesses, if you have multiple business entities, franchises, different locations, are not eligible for multiple grants, and you're only eligible to apply once for the eligible business with the highest revenue. Also, the business must be able to provide organizing documents, and also an acceptable form of a government issued photo ID is also required. So on revenue verification, as you can see that there are a few different ways that we will verify revenue. And one of them is on line 1 of your your corporate tax return, Form 1120 or 1120S. Or if it's IRS Schedule C for single member LLCs, sole proprietorships, independent contractors oftentimes will fly there as well, and other individuals as well. So also Form 1065 will have that for partnerships, and also Schedule F for farming, and Schedule E is really not eligible, as that is rental property, and that is for speculation, as we will learn, is not a eligible business venture. So the last one would be for nonprofits would be the Form 990, which is the annual report nonprofits file. And certain nonprofits that are small enough do not need to actually file a 990 form, but I believe there's some way in order to prove that you are too small or did not actually do that. So in eligible businesses have to have a location in California. For nonprofits, they have to be the C3 or C6 designations. There are several other nonprofit designations. If you're one of those, then you are not eligible to apply. You're not eligible to apply if you're a government entity other than a Native American tribe. American Native tribes can apply. Businesses that primarily that are engaged in political or lobbying activities. A lot of your investment companies, speculative, as we mentioned, churches, religious institutions, financial businesses engaged in the business of lending, not eligible to apply. And also affiliated companies are not eligible as well. So we also have businesses that are engaged in illegal activity under federal state law that are sexual by nature, that are socially undesirable activity or maybe considered predatory in their business practices. Businesses that restrict patronage for any reason other than capacity. We mentioned the speculatives, and also if there has been a felony conviction or a lot of things. It could be a felony conviction. If anybody with a 10% interest in the last 3 years has a civil judgment, or owner has any type of form of parole or probation. So that kind of are the ones that kind of shoot you down in that as far as being an eligible business. Now there's an eligible use of funds for the program as well. And it includes all eligible uses, includes all employee expenses, payroll costs, health costs, benefits, paid sick, medical, family leave, and insurance premiums. But also it includes also working capital and overhead. So you can use these funds and you must document these funds, how these funds are used, and they can't be used for other relief programs. So if you've got a payroll protection program loan, let's say maybe the second variation of that, or if you had EIDL, the economic injury disaster loans on the federal side of things, they cannot be used for the same purpose. They must be isolated, detailed, and used for these eligible use of funds. But that does include working capital. So your overhead expenses and your rent and utilities, mortgage interest, and others can all be used. Reopening business expenses after being either partially or fully closed due to the mandated COVID-19 restrictions that are pretty much everywhere here in the San Joaquin Valley. So, and business closures in complying with COVID-19 federal, state, and local reopening, and also for PPE expenses that you might have for either fixed expenses to improve your place of business as far as plexiglass, barriers, outdoor dining, or for the personal protection equipment, supplies, testing, and other training purposes. So things that you cannot use the money for. You can't use it for human resource expenses for the state share of Medicare. Kind of a small item, I might add, but still cannot be used for that. Cannot be used for employee bonuses, or if you pay severance pay, or any type of separation to employees. Taxes, you cannot use it to pay income, state, sales tax, property taxes, or any other form of taxes that are due or maybe past due. Any legal settlements, if you have a legal settlement, you can't use it to pay off that legal settlement. Personal expenses and other related expenses with COVID. And then also the expenses for repairs from damages already covered by insurance, and also for donated services or products. Okay, so the application process is a little bit of an overview. Again, we have 2 rounds. The second round has not been determined. We know the first round opened on December 30th at 8 a.m. And actually, I think that was actually at 6 a.m. So you could have got in at 6 a.m. The application closes Friday, January 8th, 2021 at 11:59. They will start notifying the winners, and you will be notified either yes, no, or potentially a waiting list starting on January 13th. It's expected the funds will take about a month to get in the hands of individuals, so probably around early February, maybe around the time of the Super Bowl, for example. We'll start seeing that funds made available to small businesses and nonprofits. So a little bit about the application. Let's do a new share here and kind of go into the platform online. So again, here we are at careliefgrant.com, and this is where you're going to need to go in order to apply for this loan. And again, this is going to be through Lendistry, although there are other partners. And so they want you to apply through a partner, and oftentimes the partner can be a variety of different entities. We'll look and see here, since our SBDC in the southern part of the San Joaquin Valley covers Kern, Inyo, and Mono counties. Let's look by county and select the county that is going to be, in this case, let's use Kern. Okay, so Kern County has a number of different partners that are available, including, there we are, the California SBDC program. You can learn more from this particular partner if you want to know more about the partner that you're working with, and a little bit of a website there. So let me stop that share, kind of come back here and give it to you one more time. Here we go. So with this, the SBDC, we go back over here to Kern, and we want to apply now. You can apply through the SBDC as your partner. Now, we're kind of a technical assistance provider. We're doing some outreach. Obviously, we want our clients, we want our small businesses in our local areas to know about the program and to be able to apply. So we're here to help. So if we go through the application process to where it says click on the apply now, you'll see that it is actually processing. I think the platform is very busy, being the morning of the 30th of December right now when this is being taped and being shot. So the platform is relatively slow, it looks like. It's that peak period, I would think, when people wanted to get in. So we're going to give it a few more seconds in order to try to see, if we can get in there. There are a few other options that you would have. For some reason in Kern County, the Fresno Black Chamber, I would have assumed that would have been the Kern County Black Chamber of Commerce here in Kern. But we will gladly help you at the SBDC and throughout the Central California region, help you with this application process. So we are running into a little bit of a slower platform right now, and I was hoping to get into that and kind of show you. We'll come back to it and see if we can get into it in just a little bit. But let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation and talk about the other requirements of the particular program. So again, it's going to be made through an online portal by Lendistry. Lendistry is a community development financial institution, a nonprofit. I believe they're based in San Francisco and have been around since 2015. Again, they integrate some really nice fintech, which makes it really easy to apply, especially during a pandemic. So what are we going to do? We're going to be jumping into that platform, and hopefully you have better luck than I just had, although I was in it this morning. So it was up and working fine this morning. And it could be partly going through the recording process of doing a Zoom webinar, an on-demand Zoom webinar is why it's slower too. But what are you going to need? You're going to need a signed certificate form released. You're going to need, and that's going to basically allow them to pull your taxes. 4506T is going to be one of them. You're going to have to sign the certification form that is kind of referenced above that you will need to self-certify the accuracy of the information you're providing, and also a need for the particular funding that you're going to be receiving. Mentioned you're going to need a photo ID, some other things, and a lot of this is going to be uploaded into their platform. It's going to be in an uploaded format, either a PDF file or a JPEG file. And again, you have to meet that minimum of $1,000 of actual revenue for a year. So how will recipients be determined? There is kind of, I think, a scoring process. They don't share with us that algorithm, but here are the 4 factors that we can share with you that we know about. If we learn more, we'll gladly tell you. But businesses need to be located in areas that are impacted the most by the effects of COVID-19. And there are areas of the state of California that have been hit hard and that have suffered the regional stay-at-home orders. And you can go to the state's website to see that, which is basically their COVID-19 website, and go to a safer economy. Next, it's going to be based on the most financial, based on revenue lost. So businesses that have been impacted the most financially are going to be scored higher than those that have not. And there are certain industries, including retail, the food and hospitality industry, health, wellness, personal care, such as beauty, nails, spas, and barbershops, that have been impacted, and those are going to receive, it looks like, a little bit of a boost as well. So the more that are impacted. And then the 4th category will be underserved small business groups. And in this definition, the meaning is women-owned, minority, person of color-owned, or veteran-owned businesses where at least 51% of the business is owned and ran on a daily basis by these individuals. And the second meaning of underserved groups will be businesses located in low to moderate income and rural communities. You'll receive a notification of funding that will start going out around the 13th of January. Um, You'll want to make sure that you add Lendistry to your safe sender list, or you'll want to check your clutter, spam, or junk emails in order to make sure you don't miss that email. Got some tips for applying. One of the tips is that the platform works much better with Google Chrome. So as far as a web browser, and there are plenty, we have IE, Firefox, Safari, Bing, but there could be some disruption of your application process if you don't use Google Chrome. So it's recommended that you click to download Google Chrome if you aren't using it already. And whereas this can be done on a phone, the application can be mobile based. It is encouraged that it is either PC, Mac, computer based with using Google Chrome for the less chance of a problem. Also, the second tip would be to notice that if you have an email account that begins with an info at, for example, for us, it would be info at SBDC or SBDC info at SBDC.com, for example. You could run into problems with that. And also emails ending with contact.com or noreply.com will also create a problem for the system. So please use an email address that is probably either one of the contact people or the ones that are applying for the particular grant. Okay. Next tip is going to be to scan and to upload your documents properly. So since everything is being provided in electronic format, it is best to use a couple different things. If you don't have a scanner, there are some free mobile apps that are out there. One of them is Genius Scan, and one of them is Adobe Scan, and you can actually get by. Many printers, if you printers have a scanner component, some of them very subtly, I notice. So could be an issue for some people, but you're going to need to upload these information and to provide that. So let's jump into some of the frequently asked questions that we're going to have for this particular program. The first one is, will you be notified if not selected? And as we mentioned, yes, you will be notified if you're approved for the award, if you're on a wait list, or if you're not selected. So again, please be able to accept messages, and those are going to come from lendistry.com. So what information are you pulling from my bank? And in an effort to cut down fraud, they are going to be pulling information that kind of shows that you've had an active business or an active banking information. So security will be one of their highest priorities, and the technology used to verify is kind of something that's owned and operated by Visa and kind of pulls along those lines. I have a franchise business with multiple locations. Can I apply for each location? And that is no. Only one for owners of multiple businesses, franchises, and various multiple locations will be considered. So you'll want to use your highest revenue source to get the highest grant up to the 2.5 million. Remember, if you go over the 2.5 million, that makes you an eligible business applying for this program. Applicants will need to certify that they are the majority owner at that particular business in order to receive the grant. Can you apply for PPP or obviously the Economic Injury Disaster Loan EIDL? And the answer to that is yes, you may apply. However, the funds cannot be used to cover the same expenses. So again, we get back to that wonderful double dip theory. Are recipients of county city loan relief programs eligible to apply? And yes, if you, for example, down here, were able to receive money through the Kern Recovers program or through the Be Cares program for the city of Bakersfield, those city and county relief funds, you can still apply. However, they cannot be used, the funds for this cannot be used to cover expenses that were used to cover those city county relief fund grants. So if you used for say current recovers and went through the forgivable process and used the expenses, you cannot use those same expenses toward this particular program. Well, you have to pay taxes on these proceeds, and the answer is yes. Prior to the February 15th, you'll receive tax-related information to the grant proceeds. Will need to be reported as income on your taxes. So consult your tax person for information on that, but do be prepared, like the unemployment insurance that we've seen very popular, but it's going to be taxable when it comes down from the state level. I do not own a computer. Can I apply? It's mobile friendly, so you can do it on the phone, but as we mentioned, the Google Chrome will give you the best optimum experience. I lost some information from the Secretary of State as far as my maybe my articles are incorporation or something. Um, so can I send a screenshot from the site? And the answer is no. Screenshots will not be accepted as a form of receipt. Contact the Secretary of State's office for information on how to obtain additional certain copies. You will not need to provide receipts for your purchases. However, it is recommended that you retain all the information, have a nice file, something really nice, and put away just in case it is audited and could be audited by the California Department of Finance. So please keep the funds available for at least 3 years and retain the documents for 3 years after your funds are extinguished. I'm undocumented. Can I apply? And yes, unlike some of the issues that people ran into with PPP and others, non-U.S. owners can apply for the grant, but will be subject to the same identification tax ID number through the IRS Form CP 565. My business is incorporated outside of California, and I generate the majority of my revenue. Am I eligible to apply? And it comes down to eligible businesses have to have a physical address and operate in the state of California. Real estate companies, agents, realtors, brokers, are you eligible grantees? And the answer to that is yes. Yes, if you file a Schedule C on your personal tax return, if you file a Schedule E as far as passive income or real income, or supplemental income and speculative or not. Real estate businesses which majority of 51% of their income is from rental income are not eligible. So there you have that. Any government state ID will work if you don't have a driver's license. So there's multiple ways to submit that and get around that. Do I have to submit documentation to verify ownership? Do multiple owner companies have to submit for one or all? And there's an application process right there that must be submitted by the majority owner of the business. There will need to be some type of filing, and only one business owner can apply. So if you have two 50% owners, it has to be one application. So there's a number of other frequently asked questions. Those are the ones that I thought were going to be most common. There are others that you can see that you go through here and you can look at if you would like. Dealing with multiple owners and whether if you're low wealth status or others. The recap, and that is the show right there. That is the slideshow. So let's kind of go back now, do a new share, and kind of see if we can get back in to the small business program website. So maybe do a little bit of a reboot here and see if we can jump in. Again, we tried to get online a little earlier and we were having a little bit of problems because of apparently the site is slammed. So Again, what I did was I went to the website and I selected the Kern as the county, which was right there. I came down and selected the SBDC as my partners. I apply through a partner. And lots of other information, application guides. The second round again is not open, so don't. If you miss the first round, which we hope you do not, your application is supposed to roll into the second round. If you did not provide all of the information, like say you had a problem uploading a tax return or some other type of documentation that was needed, if you upload that in time for the second round, then your application, so please only apply once. That's what we're getting to in a short period of time. So the website, let's see if we've had any luck getting in, and we're still a little bit jammed up on the website, it looks like. So won't be able to get into that in great detail today, but a lot of information here on this on demand. There's a lot of resources online. You can contact your local SBDC if you would like more information. So plenty of opportunity for you to actually apply. We got time, we got the effort. Contact your SBDC. The 800 number is going to be provided inside. When you go into there, you will be able to see the 833 number. Sorry, I don't have that ready for you today, but that's about it. That's about it. Any questions, contact your SBDC. We can have a consultant talk to you or walk you through it. We'll be having hopefully updated trainings on this as we move along. So everybody have a great day. I'm Kelly Bearden. Get out there and apply for your California Relief Grant. Thank you. Have a great day.